Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of the best hair, and welcome to week 5 of... Which also might as well be the summer of Paul W.S. Anderson video game adaptations, as this week we'll be looking at Monster Hunter. Released in 2020, Monster Hunter is a film adaptation of the Capcom video game series of the same name. As this is an adaptation of a Capcom game series, however, written by Paul W.S. Anderson, you can already figure out for yourselves that it's going to take some massive liberties when it comes to exactly what the story tells. As Capcom would prefer. Remember, we learned with the Resident Evil movie review that Capcom actually didn't like the Romero script because it was too similar to the games. And if people can just watch the movie, then they won't play the game. Everyone loves when video game adaptations are their own thing. Just look at the Halo TV series. Somebody has to. So for the Monster Hunter movie, we've got giant monsters in a dangerous world, and harvesting monster parts to make weapons to take on even bigger monsters. But we've also got our boring, normal world and the army, the real heroes of this tale, as Milla Jovovich finds herself leaping through a portal into the Monster Hunter world and having to find her way home. Though I suppose it would be pretty hard to make a 12-hour movie about someone grinding pink Rathians day in and day out. But nevertheless, let's take a look at Monster Hunter and see if it at least stands out from the pack. We open up to a little refresher on multiverse theory just to get you ready for what's coming. That way it's not so confusing as we see a massive desert at night where a galleon speeds across full sail. They're heading to a tower in the distance. And Ron Perlman is in the movie. Just getting that out of the way. Because suddenly a monster attacks! The ship is badly damaged, and the crew is caught off guard. People are slaughtered left and right, and eventually the ship flees into the horizon with one of the crew left behind. Well, if I'm being honest, that's a better introduction than the usual 45-minute tutorial segment. So let's ruin it immediately as we introduce Earth. Gotta get to the real stars of this show, the military. They're out in the middle of nowhere searching for Bravo Team, the only clue being a radio transmission they sent about a mysterious storm coming before they all vanished. Marshall, played by Diego Boneta, informs Captain Artemis, played by Milla Jovovich, that Link must have spotted Bravo Team ahead.
All right, ladies, saddle up.
She's a woman, but she still manages to make that sound like an insult.
Yes, thank you for pointing out the irony. Wouldn't want to miss that wit. They head out past the ominous obelisks to meet up with Link, played by T.I. Seems he found Bravo Team's tracks, and they up and fucking vanished. But how could big honkin' military vehicles just go poof? No time to muse over that conundrum. A massive storm is approaching!
Bravo Team reported a storm in their last transmission.
Hostiles using it for cover.
An ambush.
Oh, of course! The dastardly bad guys must be manipulating the weather to create storms to reduce visibility so that they can ambush our guys. Hey, when's that movie coming out? That sounds awesome! Moving to escape, things look like they'll get bad soon, because we quickly establish Link has a family, Artemis has a spouse, and Marshall moves his dog tags to his boots.
In case I get my head blown off, they can still tell who I am.
And what if you step on a landmine? Before long, though, they are engulfed by the storm. The obelisks power up, and they fall off a cliff, tumbling in slow motion. After a very harsh landing, they seem to have completely lost their bearings out in the middle of a sandy desert. All their navigation gear is either fried or unresponsive, but that's no biggie. Artemis says their top priority is to find their way back to base. On the bright side, they found Bravo Team absolutely destroyed.
It's glass.
Glass.
When sand melts, it turns to glass.
How do you melt sand?
You werf some flammen at it. Oh, they can't figure it out. The guys put up a fight, but against what? There are no tracks. Oh well, no reason to stick around. They begin driving off in search of home base, but then discover an absolutely gargantuan skeleton in the dunes. Also, hey, the guy who fell off the ship in the opening is still alive and decides to say hello.
Lenore! Hostile, 12 o'clock, 300 meters!
And they give him the proper American welcome. Obviously, he wasn't attacking them, but warning them. about the enormous monster that is coming. It flips the buggy and smashes one of them into a rock. Artemis fires away with the 50 cal. Before they can hit the beast with a rocket launcher, they get tossed and tumble in slow motion. Next thing they know, Steeler is impaled. Played by Josh Hellman. No worries, just means he can pull the pin and hit the thing with an explosion! Like it gives a shit. Continuing to chase the soldiers in the rocks, the Monster Hunter veteran does his best to actually do something to this beast, while the Call of Duty noobs flail about ineffectually until the horn breaks, dropping useful crafting materials, and the soldiers finally do enough damage to it to trigger its escape event, diving back into the sand to fight another day. And it looks like the day-night cycle is a pretty quick transition in this world. Dash, played by Megan Good, is in full panic mode and says they're all going to die! But everyone else is pretty chill with the current situation. Yeah, they're doomed, but they're soldiers. Going to some godforsaken land to get killed in a battle you don't even remotely understand is just part of the job.
What about you?
But then Artemis gets attacked by a giant bug who stings her! It doesn't matter how big or loud they are, if they're out of frame, you just can't notice them. The group fights the beast off, but Artemis ain't breathing, so they have to leave her there as they continue to flee and fight. But looky here, Artemis is still alive, and still in the bug hive, who attack again and cocoon her. But looky here, Artemis is still alive, and still in the bug hive. But it's honestly surprising at this point that she's still alive, considering that Dash is fucking dead, as well as Marshall. Awful convenient he got those tags on his boot. Oh well, free pack! Using flares to attempt to escape, Artemis runs into Link. He's still kicking, though complaining about chest pains. That's because these enormous bugs have embedded into him tiny bugs who are eating him alive. But hey, he might still make it. Well, I mean, it was never a 100% kind of prediction. Seeing light to the outside world, Artemis fights off the bugs and flees! Checking herself, she's like, nope, didn't do me dirty like Link. Plot armor saves the day once again. But the reason the bugs don't swarm her right now is the same reason they only come out at night. They cannot stand direct sunlight. Very fortunate for her, as it gives her the chance to tend to her wounds, using gunpowder for some Rambo-style cauterization, and moving to higher ground in search of anything. Well, she couldn't have felt that bad if she managed to climb that fucking thing. I can't help but feeling like a small hill is enough to be able to see that the wasteland goes on for quite a while. The sands are too dangerous to travel through, considering the big fucking monster swimming around in it. Continuing to explore the her surroundings, she finds a ship graveyard and begins searching for resources. But she's not alone! Yet. People standing next to her haven't had the longest shelf life in this movie. She is ambushed by Tony Jaa, forcing her to drop her knife before they fight over his knife. Yeah, they don't speak the same language, but everyone understands like good ass kicking. Sure, Tony Jaa is jumping all over the place, but this is Milla Jovovich, so there's no way he can... Yeah, sure, that happens sometimes. I mean, she's not a Mary Sue, and it wasn't fair either. She was dehydrated. The desert sun was drying out all her hair so much she had hardly any Jovovich powers left. So she is bound and captured. Not that she can't nab a spare sharp rock on the way to the guy's hidden camp. Here he enjoys a fine scoop of water runoff, a scrape of cave goo, and whips up some natural medicine to take care of where Artemis stabbed him. But while he prays, she secretly begins cutting away at the ropes. So, next morning, when he wakes up to go outside to check, tower's still there. When he returns, BAM! Artemis knocks him out and binds his hands. Before she can drink in front of him, though, he knocks over the water. This calls for pain. But hurting a warrior like him physically, that's not good enough. How about his stupid little altar?
Not so funny now, huh?
Though maybe before going that far, she should have made sure he was bound to something. So their fight continues. They kick each other's asses up, down, and out the hideout, rolling down the hill, where the bound man finds himself thrust back into the insect hive. But what's this? Artemis saves his life. Yep, just like that. She's cool with the guy, even sets him free. He's still understandably apprehensive about this change of heart, so she uses the true key to friendship.
Food. Food. Here. Take it.
Magical chocolate that somehow gets through a scorching desert in someone's pocket without melting, which he absolutely devours, demanding more.
Chocolate. Chocolate. Do not chocolate.
Chocolate? Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!
But truth be told, he just ate all the chocolate in the world right there. That is disappointing to hear, but he accepts Artemis's friendship and offers her a water skin. Anyway, it's time to quickly establish what they'll be doing as we go on in this movie. See that tower? It's important.
That thing is still out there.
And while you're stuck on this land thing, you can remember to like the video. It really helps a lot. And I could use that. Or if you're new here, maybe subscribe if you haven't already. That also helps.
Diablos.
Diablos.
Diablos. While he speaks a language that Artemis can't understand, we can rest assured that whoever named that monster at least spoke a little Spanish. But there's that rocket launcher! Artemis says they can kill the fuck out of the monster! But the guy's like, man, fuck that modern warfare shit. This is Monster Hunter. What we need to do is farm the bug monsters for material components, then use that to craft a weapon to defeat the bigger monster.
But how are we going to get one of those things?
You know, for not understanding English, he's doing a bang-up job as interpreter. Yep, they're using Artemis as bait. Not at the edge of the hive, no, that'd be safe and boring. She stands smack dab in the middle of the bug territory until she is ambushed by a Clendathian arachnid. Fleeing past the tripwire trap, the beast is held in place just long enough for Tony to slay the beast. Grabbing the important chunk, they flee to safety. During this sudden downtime, we can maybe hash out a proper name for Tony's character.
Hunter.
Hunter.
And I can stop calling him dude or that guy for the rest of the review. I mean, I won't, but I could. Anyway, it seems that What's-His-Face has been praying to his family, but he can't return to them because they up and fucking died at some point. Ah, well, nothing to do but prepare to take out the Diablos. That monster part has a handy-dandy poison stinger, which they craft into a poison arrow, while also preparing a lure for the Diablos. Artemis is trained in the use of the handy-dandy grapple grabber, and they even have a spare set of armor and dual blades for her to learn how to wield.
What is that? You gotta tell me about that.
But as awesome as flame sword powers are in video games, warriors tend to not be equipped with magical oven mitts. Practice long enough, it's time to fell the beast. Utilizing a sand barrel timer, they remotely launch another sand barrel across the desert, luring the beast away so that Artemis and Dude Man can run towards the truck. They don't quite make it in time, though, so the guy uses himself as bait, bringing the beast away from Artemis before using his poison bob arrow to shoot the monster in the eye. But it's still coming. But not so fast, for rapid-fire 50 BMG can piss it off, and it closes in on Artemis, who blows up a rocket in its face. Like he cares, sending her tumbling in a car. It's like the third time so far. So she's in a bad spot. But what's this? Big Bad Mama Jama jams his big-ass sword into the beast's head. But he's not the big hero of this movie. Milla Jovovich is. So while this guy gets tossed to the side, she uses the grappling hook to mount the creature and finish the job, shoving the sword down and into its brain. So it's finally dead. But the other guy ain't looking much better. Not to worry, she spent enough time here to know how to play Monster Hunter. Taking out her knife to cut a few handy crafting components off the thing, she whips up a little sand sled to keep the guy with her while they continue their quest towards the tower in the distance. Fighting through harsh desert winds and wicked sandstorms, they finally reach an oasis.
Absaros.
Absaros.
I always just called them ankylosaurus looking motherfuckers. But when she goes to drink, another creature attacks!
Bit.
The fuck you say to me? Oh, bait! Right, that didn't sound like bait. But it can't be what I thought it was, because they are absolute best buds now, sharing ankylosaurus looking motherfucker meat and some Monster Energy drink. Oh, scratch that. Guess this is the Beast Unleashed. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows out here, for that night they see a motherfucking fire-breathing dragon! I don't care if it's Drogon, Smog, or Alduin. If you see a dragon, you're pretty screwed! As the fire causes the herbivores to stampede. But what's this? Ron Perlman has arrived, and he's here to help, swinging his big fucking flaming sword, while Artemis pulls out dual blades and does a fire dance next to him, keeping the creatures at a distance. Other guy just runs away, but there is a cliff. But not to worry, the other people from the ship in the opening are also here, and can save his ass while they're at it.
Thank you.
Don't thank me yet.
And it turns out he speaks her language. Both of them. So she has been captured, taken as prisoner, and gawked at by the locals. Her old friend says nothing, but his shame is unmistakable. However, when a handy-dandy bell is rung, Artemis uses the noise to mask her bashing the lock off the trapdoor. Escaping her cell, she runs into a Palico, and also her old bud, who takes her right back to Ron Perlman.
My friend tells me I misjudged you. That I might even owe you an apology.
And just like that, her time as a prisoner is completely brushed aside. Really got some use out of that situation. As it turns out, Ron Perlman plays the Admiral, and he knows about Artemis's world. The technology there is so dangerous, it threatens to destroy their world, which is why the rift between worlds must be sealed. The one they got is powered by that ancient tower. The civilization that built it no longer exists, but the damn thing just won't stop making storms that make portals, so they gotta shut it down. But oh darn it, the ancients used dragons to guard their technology.
Their only weakness is just before they breathe fire.
Oh, that can't be it. Have you tried ice? Point is, this is Act 3. She helps slay the dragon, and they can help her get back to Earth. So, once the sun comes up, they head off, over the mountains, and fantastic vistas. I have no idea why the soundtrack is so heavy on synthesizers, but I ain't complaining. And it may as well be night anyway by the time they reach the tower, because the storm is so thick it completely blocks out the sun. Once they reach the enemy spawn point, the Rathalos attacks, burning miscellaneous background characters to death. The recognizable characters put it to task, but when it breathes fire towards Artemis, she jumps off a cliff and into a handy-dandy portal, bringing her back to Earth. Which is a hell of a way to knock the wind out of that epic final confrontation. A search party has found her! Everything's going to be okay. Or, well, you'd think that. There are tons of well-armed, well-trained people here doing the whole rescue gig, and all they're really doing is taking her and leaving. But, you see, there's a problem. We still got like 15 minutes of movie left. So the monster comes through the portal to Earth, and the final battle can begin. Rathalos versus the military. Whoopee! As it attacks Artemis' escape helicopter, causing everyone to tumble in slow motion for the 4th time. Then we get a little reenactment of Reign of Fire, where well-equipped soldiers are all fucking annihilated by a dragon one after another. Artemis, however, survives her crash, and utilizing a combination of her modern technology and that handy-dandy grapple gun she got from the Monster Hunter world, she exploits the Rathalos' only weakness, launching lit phosphorus into its throat as it just is about to breathe fire, blowing it the fuck up!
Got you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that Monster Hunter was a FromSoft game, apparently. But have no fear, for our friend the End has also hopped over to Earth, using explosive arrows to steal her kill. Yeah, jumping realities to fight a dragon is scary, but he's got good reason.
Need me, sir? Chocolate?
I don't know, I'm not convinced. And chocolate is great, American candy is fantastic, but have you seen what they have to eat in Monster Hunter? It's almost worth having to punch out a kaiju just to get a nibble. But looky here, Ron Perlman has also come, because hey, the portals haven't stopped, because there are more dragons, and they must fight them. The end? That was Monster Hunter. That was abrupt. I'm torn on this movie, because to be honest with you, I really enjoyed Act 2. Having Milla Jovovich have to try and eke out a camaraderie with a mysterious man who she cannot understand in a world full of danger and harsh survival conditions, it's pretty engrossing to me. The threat of the Diablos, the bug monsters, the plan to take out the beast, is strung together pretty well. At least compared to the rest of the movie. Acts 1 and 3 are both incredible disappointments. The writing and acting on display during Act 1 doesn't sell me that I should care about any of these characters, and I guess that works out considering most of them ain't long for this world. The big important things that are established in Act 1 are that there's a tower, portals go to another world, and something out there makes things very hot. Other than that, we're just waiting for the rest of the cast to get picked off so the movie proper can start. But then when we get to Act 3, we get a prisoner scenario that lasts all of one scene, a new big bad monster to worry about that fans of the game argue is actually weaker than the last one they took out, and a much simpler explanation of how to kill it. Then we get that rug pulled out from us to hop back to Earth and see the military get absolutely curb stomped. Again. Then the movie pulls the most anticlimactic ending it can, giving us no time to feel any victory has taken place as the battle is already ongoing, only for it to suddenly end as the credits start rolling. So, Monster Hunter is a fine movie to watch, but an uninteresting movie to start and a pretty crappy movie to end. The special effects are fine, the CGI is top quality, and when we finally do get out of the desert, the movie shows us some pretty impressive settings and fantasy locations. But the overall execution is like, if in Castaway, fucking everyone died in the opening except for Tom Hanks, leaving him no family or friends to even go back to, and after he finally gets off the island and get back to land, we see a tidal wave coming for him and cut to credits. There is a chunk of movie here that is honestly pretty good, but a little restructuring could have gone a long way with this one, coming in at 2 ankylosaurus-looking motherfuckers out of 5. It's not terrible, or even so bad it's good, it's just disappointing. Thank you all for watching, I've been Shado, and remember, always accept as many bounties as you can before you go out on a hunt. But before you go, like, subscribe! I hate having to regurgitate that every video, but it really does help, so it is what it is. But what I do like doing is talking about the other reviews I've done that you can also check out. You guys have been really helpful in reminding me about video game movies that I have already reviewed that I forgot about, such as Doom! I reviewed that one. And I guess I forgot because the movie really, well, it ain't much like the game. You can check that out, or the randomly, algorithmically selected thing there. Engagement helps, like liking and subscribing.